Hello. So I don't know if we fully everybody agreed that we're releasing the demo uh, at 9 a.m. Pacific or 10 a.m. Pacific. Um, I believe it's 9 a.m. Pacific, which would be 1 hour from now. So we're just like chilling. Will it be unplayable after the fest? Yes, it'll be unplayable after the fest. It'll be unplayable on Monday. You think it now, right now? No, it's not right now. It's not right now. We're just chilling for a bit. We're chilling for a bit. Let's make sure in our save game we can get up to the current point. Yesterday, Wednesday. I don't know. Is it gonna let me pick this again? Okay, so I don't actually know which one of these is a better save. I'm gonna guess this one. I don't know, guys. That could have been a big mistake. Big mistake. Okay, that's what? Why? Oh God. Okay, so
Monroe? Are you
I
here?
loaded a.
Foreign script, but I understand it's.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we just did. Because I was testing demo version 2 to make sure that it would go out, and my save from there um is a demo version 2 save. But what's publicly available to people on the Steam still is demo version 1. And in the save file, we say what demo it came from, and we won't load demo 2 from demo 1. And the reason is because there's like territory and levels in demo 2 that don't exist in demo 1. And so if we loaded your save game, we would be like trying to load things that don't exist, which isn't good. So it just now skips the save game for demo 2 is there. But when we look for it, we're like, oh, we can't load that. And so we start a new game. Can you implement red black tree for fun? Okay. You know, in college I had the data structures course, and or maybe I never took the data structures course, but maybe I actually don't think I did. I think I skipped that one. But there was at some point you come across red black trees and other trees in these other classes, and I was just like, I really don't care about this. I didn't care about it at all. And I think that was a good instinct. Like, I mean, probably nobody uses vanilla red black trees in the modern world, but they're like a foundational idea that you would understand before you understand something, more complicated or more customized, right? The thing is, the use case for those is actually very narrow. Like maybe if you implement file systems, you would think about that. But for anyone doing data structures in memory, you would not use a red black tree for anything because uh, it just doesn't make any sense. Like other ways of storing the data are much, much faster. And the whole point of a red black tree, the whole red and black in the red black tree is to rebalance the tree to keep it fast, usually, right? I mean, I guess there's other reasons you could rebalance, but you know, um, and like you just wouldn't store data that way in RAM if you want it to be fast. And so it's really only useful in cases where seeking through the data is really slow, right? So that's the thing. How is the demo doing in terms of downloads players? Well, okay, here's the funny thing. when I looked on day one or something, maybe the Steam reporting hadn't flushed, but I was like, oh my God, we're hardly getting any wish lists. Uh, but then I looked again yesterday and I was like, oh wow, we're actually getting a lot of wish lists. I mean, relative to this, like Next Fest is a little bit weirdly small in that you would think that if a bunch of people are putting up free demos, there would be like more interest in that than there is in paid Steam games because it's free, right? But that's not really the way it works. I think because a lot of the demos are like barely games and you wouldn't really be interested in them. I don't know. So um, the number of players that we have is a lot less. Like the number of free demo players, I think for every game in Next Fest is a lot less than the number of people who would buy the full game, which is weird. But it kind of makes sense too. A lot of people are probably like, look, I have plenty of games to play anyway. Maybe I want to play it when it's ready to be played or whatever, right? Like a lot of demos are also just really short. Steam did not show the game on Next Fest, even though it's the only one on your wish list. I don't know what their prioritization algorithm is. Um, Certainly, there's like 4,000 or 5,000 games in Next Fest. It's completely absurd. So maybe their algorithm is not balancing its red black tree fast enough to get you that recommendation. I don't know. I look like a smart version of Carl Pilkington. No, Carl Pilkington looks like the smart version of Carl Pilkington. Okay. Are Demo 2 levels an extension of Demo 1 territories or someplace else? Okay, what it is if you played Demo 1 and you would end up running into these signs, right, that says this is as far as you could play right now. Some of those signs are gone and you can go further in the overworld, and that means you can reach more levels, is how it works. I mean, dude, I still don't understand Carl Pilkington because the first time I saw some videos with him and Ricky Gervais, he seemed like a really, really smart comedian that was making a lot of like multi-level, really deep jokes. And then later I hear like, no, he's just dumb. Everyone thinks he's just dumb. I don't know if he's actually that dumb or if he's like 300 IQ. I can't tell. And that's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Is it out in an hour or now? In an hour. Let's put up a thing. I don't have the technology to make a countdown. Let's make this a really good color. Wait, no, because that's the color that's in all the game trailers that everyone doesn't like now. Let's do that. Okay. Um, how's that? That might still be literally the same text field in my OBS settings as the Cyberpunk text field because I just keep editing it. It might be. I'm not sure. How long is a demo available for? It goes down Monday at, I don't remember the exact time. Probably Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific or something. What is that in King's time? I don't know what time zone Stockholm is, where King.com is headquartered. I mean, there's no other king that would be relevant that we would be talking about, right? Did I see the bug that lets crystals skip over water? Yeah, someone in China sent that. Um, I was not able to reproduce it myself, so if anyone can actually repro that bug, send me like a whisper or some other form of DM, and I'll get your save files from you because I wasn't able to make it happen. How many hours of gameplay in the demo? At least one. I'm gonna have to put the people keep asking the same questions, of course, as they do. So I'm gonna. Okay. How's that? I mean, it's hard to see because of this. Let's get rid of some back. I don't know. We need a neutral background for that text to show up. It took you 15 hours to 100% it. I mean, this is, yeah, like playtime is highly variable, right? So the fastest that I saw any 100% phase one was around 3.5 hours. But that was someone, that was someone who's very much a puzzle enthusiast and had played Mirror Isles and Heroes of Sokoban and Promised One before, right? Um, that's not most people. And so for most people, it's probably longer. How satisfied am I with how the demo launch went? Very satisfied. I mean, we'll see. There's still room to make mistakes, but I'm very happy with it. The thing is, it also just highlights all the stuff you want to improve before launch, right? And that's normal. But it's like, oh man, yeah. There's a few things like so responsiveness of the analog stick isn't quite where we would want it, because of gameplay transaction system and stuff. And but we can make that better. So, you know. Can't you just back up the demo file and start it manually after Next Fest? No, because I think Steam doesn't let you play it. I mean, unless you do something to get around that. Van Devender said he reproed and fixed the crystal skipping stone bug. Okay. I wonder. I mean, I have some vague ideas on what it could have been, but I wasn't able, just in 5 minutes trying to make it happen on my own laptop, I wasn't able to make it happen. That's how bugs are sometimes. Does the demo have DRM? It is just a normal Steam game. It doesn't have anything crazy that like roots your machine or whatever. It's just, whatever is the basic thing that Steam puts in all games is what's in the demo. Any chance of having the game run on older Intel iGPUs? We are working on increasing compatibility to more GPUs. That's another thing that this demo has been useful for, is just like, oh yeah, it doesn't run on this. However, it does have to be a DirectX 12 capable GPU. We just can't do like DirectX 11 or something. That at this point, that would be an insane amount of rewriting of the game. Um, so DX12, uh, let me see. Intel Iris Plus. I don't know. That sounds like it's DX12 capable, but I don't really know. i3 8100 UHD 630. Yeah, the other thing, so there's basically two. Well, there's one basic limitation that we should be able to get past for the final game, which is I think if I forget the exact lower limit. I think it's if your GPU has 8 gigs or less of RAM, we don't run right now. And that's actually a significant number of machines. Um, uh, Google says it does support DX12. Yeah, so we should hopefully be able to run on that GPU. Um, you know, there's some things, you know, like, oh, this GPU only does shader model 6.5 instead of 6.6. We could probably work around that kind of a thing compatibility wise, but it does need to do DX12 is all. No GeForce 256. Dude, we get bug reports from people with 8 gigs. All right. We get that. So do you pre-allocate 7 gigs on start? That's not really how it works now. It's just like right now, we're still we're doing a lot of things for a lot of different systems, basically, right? So you know that we're on Switch 2 and we're on PC. Um, Possibly, we're thinking about other future systems as well, right? And so there's just a lot of ideas flying around. And so when it came to launching the demo, we just didn't think super hard about the issue of how much RAM do we need, or at least I didn't, right? Maybe the graphics programmers did. Um, but it's just like, oh, for lower end systems like on Switch 2, in handheld mode especially, we want to go fast and we don't want to eat too much RAM for sophisticated levels. So we just don't use the highest map level of textures. That's a common game development. It's a common game development technique. Like if you're running on this small screen that you know the resolution of, and you can't ever get to a high enough resolution that you could even use those detail levels of those textures, then it's kind of silly to load them and use RAM, right? If those pixels can't end up on the screen. And so we did that for Switch 2, and I think we just only did it for one level because that was all it seemed like that we needed at the time, but it should be relatively straightforward to do 2 levels, right? Once you've done one, that's like kind of the hard part. And then it's like, well, we could do two. And if we do 2 levels, that should fit in less RAM on lower end PC. I don't know. That's the current vague idea. You know. It works fine with 4 gig VRAM on your laptop. Your laptop is probably a UMA device, right? So that okay. So some graphics cards are UMA, which means they can read your system memory as well as video memory, right? Some are not, which means if they're going to render, everything has to be on the graphics card's memory, right? And so that makes a difference. The biggest problem you had was the VSync switching from 60 to 30 all the time. That's just what happens when a game is VSyncing, but it doesn't hit the frame time. Um, in that case, I would recommend turning down the settings if they're not on performance mode. And, you know, in the final game, our shaders will go faster, especially on lower end machines. So, yeah. What laptop do I use? I use a ThinkPad X1 Carbon from last year. Do you think there will come a day when you can choose in Steam before installing the game what resolution the texture should be so the 200 gigabyte game turns to 20 when you just need low? Okay, so that's obviously not a question about this game because this game is not that big. But if you're talking about like, I don't know, Call of Duty or something, it's probably hundreds of gigabytes, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know. You know, what I would say generally is that I think that AAA developers, broadly speaking, should really be questioning. Okay, here's the tweet that I posted is that all these games have $200 million budgets and 200 gigabyte file size. And like, this is the game of the year that's like the massive hit, right? Is like this fucking game, right? And so, like, if you're some game that had a $200 million budget and you only made $50 million back because you were making all these art assets, that's the most expensive thing. And then you're looking at this and you're like, what are we doing, right? It is 10 times cheaper. Well, that helps too. Yeah. But I guess the point is, you know, it's up to the developer what they think is the best way to approach that problem, I would say. Is the demo free? Yes. Yes, the demo is free. Do I find 14-inch screen too small? It's slightly too small. Um, I would prefer 15, 16, probably 16, I think is ideal. However, these gamer laptops that have 16-inch screens have become so unusable that I just refuse to buy them anymore. Like, I mean, people have heard me rant about this probably, but a couple years ago, I think in 2024, maybe 2023, I started a sequence of buying 3 different $5,000 gamer laptops. Add that up. I spent $15,000 in high end 16-inch gamer laptops. They were all horrendous trash that like didn't even, you know, like you're just trying to do basic stuff. Windows is lagging all the time. On the Razer, like you couldn't even play YouTube videos without them stuttering. Like really basic stuff like that for $5,000. That was before all the crazy inflation, or maybe it was during all the crazy inflation, but prices hadn't settled out. So I think the equivalent laptops would be at least 6 now. I don't even know. Um, people are gonna like everyone gets mad anytime I say anything about the demo and a number is even like slightly off by one. I think it's around 30 or 35 more puzzles, right? I said 110 earlier, but I'm not completely sure that that's accurate because that might have included a few like test puzzles that don't ship to people or whatever. So, but it's something like that. It's something around 30 or 35 more levels. The levels are a little more involved because early in the game, um, early in the game, it's like, here's how this character works. And you get a few simple levels that you just blast through in like 30 seconds each, right? And this later part of the game doesn't have that. So it's more like they're all like real puzzles and not acclamation puzzles. Over 90 OO puzzles, yeah. The demo is huge. It was going to be huger, and then we were like, no, we don't. It's okay. We can do a little less. Has a price been decided? We have ideas, but we haven't finalized anything. What I will say is, it's not going to be $100 like some of these AAA games tried to do. Um, I mean, as an indie, you wouldn't do that anyway, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, but we can't. So I would probably say more, but we're working with a publisher here, and the publisher probably appreciates us not saying random stuff. So couldn't help but notice most of the demo is made of uncompressed audio. Yeah. So the deal there. Um, I actually, yeah. So that won't be an issue in the final build. Obviously, it's just we were iterating really fast on the voice acting. Like all the voice acting that you hear in the game, um, literally went into the game 2 days before the demo launched, or 1 day before the demo launched, right? And so we just haven't finalized that stuff. Let me make sure that we get to it pretty soon. Um, well, okay, that's the voice acting, right? So the other question is, the music is broken down into a bunch of things, and I have to have a talk with the music guys about whether they think compression damages the music or something. I don't know. I don't know if there's a reason why it's set that way. So we'll discuss. Um, but I mean, are you sure that it's all uncompressed? Because I'm not sure that that's true. I would guess that some of it's compressed right now and some isn't. At one point, the British wizard says can't. Well, the wizard isn't British. You mean someone else? The thing about this game is nobody in this game is actually British. Actually, one character is. But other characters, it's just an analogy because they come from other worlds, right? That said, yeah, we should try to do a good job on accents when we can. The swapper guy. Okay. Well, we'll look for that. We obviously don't want to do that, but at the same time it's like, well, maybe that's just his accent, man. Actually, two of the actors are English, but I'm just saying only one of the characters is, well, we shouldn't go into details like that. You liked when the thief said, "You what, governor?" Yeah. Yeah. The 2.7 gig is riff, wave audio, mono 48 kilohertz. Yeah. So I think it's just okay. So the other thing that happened recently in audio is well, okay. So in prior development, when the music guys are just working on composition and what works well and what levels and stuff, it's all MIDI, right? And then at some point we went through and started recording actual musicians, which sounds much nicer. Um, but that's not done yet as well, and so they may be, and it's they're still getting, I think, the organic audio into the game, and so all of this is in process. Yeah, we do care a lot about file size, and we will do what we can to get that down. Also, though, I think in the final game, um, even if the audio were uncompressed, which it won't be mostly. I mean, we might need to have some uncompressed for quality reasons. We'll see. But even if it were all uncompressed, it would be a much lower proportion of the full game size than it is now. So started the demo and your PC shut down when you tried to adjust the graphics settings. Okay. Well, that's not good, but wait, your PC shut down or the game crashed? If your PC shut down, that's a driver bug. And you need to update your drivers or tell your graphics card vendor to give you better drivers, because if your PC shuts down, it's broken. Yeah, we will have a frame rate cap in the final game. It's just among the things that we didn't quite get to yet. Have we ever considered having a log you could access with a history of dialogue you missed? I mean, I thought about that a little bit, but I don't think that's how we're going to do that. I was thinking we might do a thing where if you reset a level and you're on the reset point already, like if you reset a level because you just want to redo the puzzle from the starting state, you don't necessarily want to hear the intro dialogue again. But if you reset on the reset point, maybe that means like, oh, I just want to hear everything again. But I don't want to have like an RPG journal page where you click on all the different things. Like that doesn't make sense for this game where a lot of things that characters say are like 5 words. It just why that would feel broken and weird. Um yeah. What about for the overworld though? You restarted the campaign because of the layering of dialogue when you were running around in the opening area. There's not any information that you really need. I mean, the audio logs you can replay, right? You know that. Those are the audio logs are 99% of it. And then there's just a little bit of flavor text that your character says as she walks around, but that's like not very much. I don't know. It's just not I mean, sometimes in games this is interesting. Like, you know, okay, it would in principle be nice if the following thing could happen, but then it's like every mechanism of achieving that is cumbersome and like worse than just letting it be. And so that's how I feel on that point. But as we go toward shipping the game, of course, we're constantly just trying to figure out what are the good things we can do to make the game better. And so if we come up with good ideas and we have time to implement them relative to the things that we need to do, of course, we're always looking out. Like that's actually people in the game industry know this, right? So especially on a long project, and this has been the longest of long projects, when you get toward the end, it's just like, oh my, we just have to get the game done. It's so hard to get it done. We're not changing anything. We're literally just trying to get it out the door. And to a certain extent, that is what you need to do. And it's a certain survival tactic because if you don't do that, the game maybe doesn't ship ever. But at the same time, if you're just too calcified in that way of thinking, you can just miss good opportunities to make the game better. And sometimes those things are important, and sometimes those things make a game substantially better for a decent number of people. And so you just got to balance it. You got to be good at executing on getting the game done so that you have a little bit of bandwidth left over to do the little improvements, is what I would say. It'd be nice if the pocket had an outline so it's easy to tell at a glance when it repeats. Yeah, what I would say about that is just it's a combination of some of the changes there we did relatively recently. I don't want to spoiler for people who haven't played it yet, is the thing. But some of the changes we did relatively recently and are working a lot better than what we were doing before. And some of the graphics are still a little temporary. So, for example, there's already a grid there when like rooms are powered, and that's still kind of a temporary effect that we would like to make better. And just, so what you're talking about would be like essentially a bigger grid square that probably would harmonize with that effect, right? So that it doesn't look dumb. And it's just we're still iterating on that a little. Okay, I'm gonna update our timer. Right, we're on manual timer here. So this is 22 minutes from now. Time is flying because we're having fun. Do you come up with puzzles yourself or do you hire people to create them and put them into the game? Well, it depends on the game. So for Braid, I did 100% of the puzzles. For Witness, I did like 98% of the puzzles, but some people on the team contributed some stuff. For this game, I don't actually know what's the percent, but it's a really big game. And there's been a lot of designers helping. Besides me, there's 3 or 4 other people who have been major design contributors. Well, okay, 3 or 4 people since the development of the game started, and then the worlds that you visit were all the original design of 3 other designers. So that's like 7 other designers, and denizens of Twitch chat will be happy to know that back in streams years ago, some of you may remember this, we would just be designing levels on the stream and Twitch chat would contribute. And so in the credits of the game, there's a bunch of people from Twitch chat. There's probably at least 10 or 15 people. Now, those contributions tend to be a little bit here and there in individual levels. So it's not like, a large part of the game, but it's just to say, this game is a lot more collaborative than Braid was or The Witness was. Once you come up with the basic rules, mechanics of your puzzle game, how do you actually get ideas for good puzzles themselves? Well, that's a spicy question because for me and most designers, the process of coming up with the mechanics ideas, like the rules, here's how this world works or whatever, that usually involves at least thinking to a decent degree about what puzzles you could make with that if you implemented that. Like, it's very rare to implement something and be like, I haven't thought about this at all. I have no idea what'll happen when I type in this code, right? So hopefully you got a starting point that you got excited about where you were like, oh, if the rules of the game are like this, then this cool thing could happen, right? So then once you have that, that's like a base area that you could explore outward from. And the easiest way to explore outward is you just start making levels and see what happens. Like, you observe the system that you implemented and you see how it behaves, and that gives you ideas. And a lot of those ideas probably shouldn't be things that you put in levels, but some of them are. And then at a deeper level, what you're really doing is you're becoming more of an expert at that system that you built, so that you can then just have better ideas. Like that'll just start happening, right? Because you know more about the thing. Now, at some point, maybe if you started in an area that was just not rich enough for the full game, I don't know, you did some mechanics and you're like, okay, I got some juice out of this, but it's not enough for the game I want to make. Then you maybe have to add something or change something, and that can be harder because you're like, what do I add? Sometimes there are natural ideas about what you could add or change, and sometimes it's just hard and feels artificial, and you just have to work through that. I mean, I don't, you just have to try stuff and get better. Like that one's hard. What's the reason for taking down the demo? Well, we don't want to maintain a demo until the game's out because that'll defocus us from making the game good. And I mean, come on, it's a celebration. We're having an event. This is an event, the Steam Next Fest event. And the event is for a time. It's how life is. Life is but for a time. Okay? You wanted to listen to the music, but it stopped after a while. Is this intended? Yeah, it's what the music guys wanted to do. I think we're still in discussion on that. Because, a typical video game thing would be that music just repeats forever, right? Um, and we're trying to not have that kind of an aesthetic, but who knows? What should happen is that once your character starts moving again, the music will slowly come back in. I think it also motivates people more to check it out. True, right? If you could go check it out anytime. Eh? Do you need a copy of the save file? No. No, but don't delete it or whatever. I mean, I guess it's in Steam Cloud. I'm not sure what happens to Steam Cloud if you uninstall the game, right? Does your save file go away? I don't know. And is it different for a free demo than a paid game? Like I could see for a paid game, Steam keeping your cloud around because it's like, well, they paid us money. But for a free demo, what does Gabe think? Does Steam actually delete the files from your disk? No, but I'm just thinking if someone switches computers or whatever. The problem with demos is that they get removed from your account when you uninstall them. Huh. Well, we'll see. We will see what happens. For a 2D game where you want to sort sprites by y-axis, is bubble sort a good idea? No. You never want to use bubble sort for anything. Just use quick sort. It's fine. You want to reduce flickering of enemy sprites that are on similar Y. Well, Jen, if you want to reduce flickering of sprites, then just draw them in a consistent order every frame and they won't flicker. Like if you order them by, the entity with the newest entity ID is on top or something, right? Or you just assign them, pretend like there's a Z plane and assign things a Z value when you create them. And it could even be random as long as it's consistent every frame. And then you just sort by the Z value. Yeah, bubble sort is really, really bad. Only problem with save is that demo is separate app ID to main game. So you don't think it's going to sync. Well, if it's on, if the files are already on your computer, we can launch. I mean, we will see them, right? And so the question is just if you switched computers, would it sync? And we can ask our Steam technical contacts about that. Maybe they have a thing for that. Have we considered adding a store, character skins, and a battle pass? No, but we're thinking about adding spaceships that you can't really do anything with, but you could like look at, and you could see how many bathrooms are in the spaceship. Because that's where the real money is. Battle passes are like chump change. It's buying spaceships, man. Update timer. In the promise, you got stuck in a wall. Indeed. Gosh. I guess you walked into a wall. I mean, are you disappointed that you didn't reach the back rooms? I'm not sure. Not sure what you're saying. Where'd I get the sweet jacket? I'm pretty sure this is Barbados. Let me see. Yes. Okay. If you're a dude living in the US, this is the second best place to get clothing. Unfortunately, they only have stores in a few places. And there's a lot of variability. Sometimes they actually suck, but usually they're really good. So they have a store in LA, New York, San Francisco, and Las Vegas, and maybe some other stuff. Let's see. Oh, they have a lot more stores now. But Barbados is really good. Second best place in the world to get clothing as a dude. The best. This is one place where the Europeans are doing better. What's it? This is probably the best. Unfortunately, she has. Well, these look crappy. Maybe it's bad now. I don't know. Maybe this season is not good. But they only ship to like Europe. Last I checked, so I have to have a friend in Europe forward me stuff. Um. Anyway, those are my clothing tips. Like, look, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. This looks terrible. This is like all the kids these days have low self-esteem because Western society is telling them they're useless. So we have to sell them clothes that look how they feel. So maybe I don't like this so much anymore. But previous generations of Hotfic were quite good. Anyway. You're scared of shops that show no prices. I mean, that's rational. That's rational. I'm going to get ahead and say 7 minutes so I don't have to edit it. And then someone's on the internet going to be like, you lied. You said 7 minutes when it was 8 minutes. We could play the 7-minute abs video, but I don't want to get banned during the demo launch stream. Open the game while we wait. We could do that. We could put some game on the screen. I don't want to spoil it for people. We'll just stay on the title screen. We show this in the trailers and stuff. You don't have enough RAM. Well, we will do what we can. Excuse me. We will do what we can for launch of the final game to work well in less RAM. It's just because we're a small team. So for this whole game, guys, I mean, it's a little bit hard to exactly estimate the number of programmers because, you know, the team has changed sizes and all that. But right now, we have something like 4 programmers. And I say something like because I'm basically a part-time programmer. I don't program that much right now while we're doing all this other stuff like you know, recording voice acting and writing the story and stuff like that. And then, you know, there's another programmer who's part-time. But like we made a game engine. We're launching on, you know, multiple platforms. It's just a lot. It's a lot for programmers to do. And so what that just means is, you know, sometimes we gotta we still have a little bit left to do. And so I think running in less memory is one of those things. How is the animation movement so smooth? I mean, this is just regular skeletal animation like you would see. I can't turn on the debug view because this is the public release, but you know, it's normal. It's normal video game stuff. Are there any plans for the game to be in GeForce Now? Everybody who asks about GeForce Now always ask that before checking to see if the game is already there, which it is. At least the demo is. So that's just a consistent thing that I've noticed. What even is GeForce Now? It is it's NVIDIA Stadia. It's NVIDIA Stadia. I'm checking my email to see if anyone is sending any panicked messages at the last minute. This does not seem to be the case. So that's good. That's good. What are the main reasons people don't ship development tools alongside games? Yeah, I mean, this probably varies tremendously depending on if you're talking about indies or AAA. But I mean, when you make a game, when you make a game for people, you're thinking about giving them a polished experience, and that polished experience doesn't include hacking away at the game and making things bad, right? Like shipping people tools that they can use to make stuff is cool, but that's usually not the development tools. There's all sorts of things you got to keep in mind, like the game's usually packaged and stuff, and the way that you run it in development and the way the files exist and all that are not the same as when it ships. And so you couldn't just edit the package with development tools. It wouldn't work that way. There's just all sorts of issues like that. Um, you know. And so when you go to make, one of these games like, Dreams or something where it's all about you making stuff, a lot of work goes into just planning around how do we let people make stuff in a way that's actually good and that actually works well, right? And so for random games to do that, it's not necessarily so easy. You actually use PuzzleScript as your level editor. Well, that works. I mean, if you can do that, that's fine. But there probably are some other things, right? So like if you're using various open source libraries, they might have some restrictions on what you have to do if you use that in a binary that you distribute, right? So that's a legal encumbrance that you could have. There might be similar things for other, I mean, depending on how complicated a developer's tool chain is and all that, then it could get quite gnarly. Oh God, 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, so we made a deal where Charles was going to push the button. Hopefully he pushes the button. I do not have the button. I relinquished the button duty for this time, and so we're just sort of hoping. Let me go on the site, and I can monitor. I can monitor from the site what is the current build, and I can tell you guys when it's, because Steam doesn't necessarily notice updates right away when they go. Like you have to restart Steam. All right, how do I get through the Steamworks? Steam pipe builds is the screen. Oh my goodness. All right. It looks like it hasn't been pushed yet, I guess. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna chill. I think I see what's the right build, but I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna push it. I'll give him a few minutes, and then if it doesn't get pushed, I said I don't have the button. Well, I could have the button. I could have the button. Minus 1 minute from now. Okay, let's take down the text until we can post accurate text. How many hours should the first part of the demo take? We had this discussion. It's highly variable, is what we're seeing. Some people, especially people who played the original Heroes of Sokoban and stuff, Blaze. Oh, he pushed the button. He pushed the button. All right. So if we restart Steam, because I mean, maybe it'll detect, but Steam usually, like Gabe wants to save on his bandwidth bill or something. So I think if you want to notice, then you restart Steam for some, like, I feel like this costs more bandwidth for Gabe than just noticing that the game updated. So Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you push the button and the servers have to like stage. So I don't know. It might be a few minutes while Steam. Oh, oh, oh. Maybe I can load my demo phase 2, but I have to find it now. My phase 2 progress. Oh, this also, there'll be a longer startup again because the executable changed. So the shader cache, dude, we need to do something about that. It shouldn't be this long. All right. All right, so okay, well, I did. Okay. This is a, you know, I sort of cheated through this screen, so these aren't all solved, but like some stuff, you could see the glowing stuff on the next screen there that's been solved. How'd that happen? How'd that happen? So we are officially live. Demo phase 2 is officially live, and you can now play the new puzzles. Do I remember how to solve all the puzzles? I remember how to solve, at this point, most of the puzzles, but I guarantee you there would be puzzles that I would end up in the game and be like stuck for a while. It's just so big that it's hard to remember everything. It was even harder earlier in development when everything was newer, and I would often be just like way behind. What's the size of phase 2 relative to phase 1? I don't know. Like, there are fewer levels, but they're not these introductory solve them in 30 seconds levels. They're like real levels. And so we'll just have to see how long it takes people. We'll just say it's substantive. It is a substantial additional chunk. It's not like 2 levels. it's substantive. How do you beat the level with 3 goblins at the beginning? You need to put some skill points into charisma and negotiations, and you have to have peace negotiations with the goblins and explain to them that life will be better if you all just can cooperate and be together in harmony. It's a hard puzzle game sometimes because, like, that solution is not that obvious, maybe, I would say. Any chance for a pre-purchase? We don't have pre-orders set up right now. You know, Steam recommends if you do pre-orders to keep it pretty close to launch date, which makes sense to me because all sorts of games, you know, take money and then don't come out. I mean, Kickstarter is famous for that. So it's just like, you know, I don't know if we'll do pre-orders. If we do, they'll be close to launch. Validating files trigger an update. That's true. That is true. You can do the validate local files thing. I'm glad you guys like the demo. We'll chill here for a bit more. Let's update our message, and I'll do a tweet while we're on the stream. Is out. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna post a tweetereat about this. What should I say? I need a good screenshot, guys. I didn't prep a screenshot. Do I go to our screen? The text scene is not visible in OBS. Oh, good catch. We made it. There we go. There we go. How many sales do you need to break even? At least 5. At least 5. Am I going to do gameplay? I would rather let people discover it for themselves. I don't want to spoiler things. Like, you know, when people like your demo, I think you can just let them have the fun of playing the demo, right? Three puzzles done. Are you trolling me? That's very fast. That's very fast. Are you tracking player data like how long people are in puzzles? Not right now. Not right now. Oh, I guess, you know, okay, so you probably, if you're doing early Bard and Druid puzzles, there are a few that are pretty fast there as well, because we're introducing those characters. We're introducing, okay, I'm going to tweet. I'm going to tweet. I'm going to say, oh, I can retweet also this. Okay. Demo phase 2 for Order of the Sinking Star is now live on Steam. The demo goes down on Monday. The demo gets taken down. Disappears. It disappears on Monday morning. So play while you can. We appreciate. Thanks for all the. Okay, I just need like a screenshot. The publisher has made a little video. I don't really know, because like you want it to be inlined into the tweet. I don't think I can save out the video and just put it in. So I'm just going to go for a screenshot right now. And then maybe I'll figure out the video later. Maybe I'll just take a screenshot live from the game, like a gangster, as opposed to like a pre-prepped thing. How does that sound? Raphael just tweeted about part 2 of the demo. Cool. Cool. Do you really need to re-download? So with Steam, you either just want to restart Steam if it's not detecting it, or go to settings, validate local files, and it'll detect it. I don't know why Gabe is such a butt pain about detecting updates. It's really bad for like content releases like this, and you would think that Valve would want to support that better. So no skipping stones. Yeah, there's no skipping stones in the demo. It is reserved. Okay, I just tried to run my game and the shaders are, I need to recompile. Maybe I will look for a screenshot. I don't know. The new mirror puzzles are nice. Dude, you're blasting through the demo. Just blasting. Just blasting. You didn't restart, and eventually the update was queued. Okay. Yeah. I think it should be close to instant. Or like, look, if you go to launch the game, it does every time you launch, it like detects if there's a Steam Cloud conflict, right? Like, why don't you just detect if the game's been updated? But for some reason, it doesn't always do that. It's weird. How many new puzzles in the second phase? It's something like 30 or 35 in that general neighborhood. How would that happen? Poll constantly? No, like when you click the play button, it goes on the network anyway. That's what I'm saying. It goes on the network to check the cloud again. So they could just do that. Were there any performance optimizations done? We might have gotten small things in. I don't think we did anything drastic because we don't, you know, we have a bunch of ideas of things to do for the full game, performance optimization wise, but we don't want to like do big risky changes in the middle of the demo week and break the game accidentally for people who already could play it or whatever. mm. It'd piss off more people than it'd help. I don't know. Just put a check for update button on. I mean, I guess if they did that, someone would sit there pressing it all day. I just feel like there's got to be something better. There's got to be more to life than this. Okay. What's a good... You know, they emailed me the video, but maybe I don't have the final one. Yeah, oh, that's the other thing, right. I forgot about this when I was doing my little mini rant. Steam Deck does it fine. Steam Deck detects updates very fast, so it's literally just the desktop client for some reason. A fix for a speedrun exploit. Like on the overworld with stuff unlocking? Oh, like monsters unlocking? So I did code, maybe you saw this and used it, but for the goblins, the initial goblins, right? There's like an unlock instantly flag that like just makes it happen so you can't run past them. Maybe we were missing that on the later part. All right. You know, I'm just going to take this screenshot that we started up to, and I'm going to paste it in the tweet, and I'm going to hit send tweet. Screenshot does not have outline for the other thief because I didn't update the game since we fixed that. You know, maybe that's not the best screenshot. I don't know. Let me look and see if there's a level that looks even better. Anyway, though, this is pretty good. We've been successful today. Why did we move update from Thursday? There's no specific. It's just we felt like Friday was better. We felt like we wanted to give people more time to play phase one, and then, you know, the weekend is really when people have more time to play games, maybe. So we just felt that timing was better. It wasn't like, you know, It wasn't like a super important decision. We were just like, oh, you know what? Let's do Thursday. You know. Maybe I'll do this screenshot. If I edit a tweet, can I swap the screenshot? Can I? Edit post. Yes, I can. That one looks nicer. It's just got a very cool background and okay. Maybe it's harder to read. I don't know, dude. But who knows what things look like to people. Oh shoot, I took it at 720p. I gotta edit the tweet again. Because my laptop, it's a very low-end GPU. All right, let me do this. We'll do this. Edit tweet again. We're really exercising the red-black trees on the Twitter servers with all these tweet revisions. All right. We'll try that one. Screen shows dark gray for yeah, it's we know it's hard to get around. We just need to do a little loop while we wrestle with the GPU and get it to like not be an asshole. I apologize for that, but yeah, it just there'll be a little bit of a longer boot and then go. We did have some people where it was running on their integrated Intel GPU, even though they have a dedicated NVIDIA GPU. Wait, what? That's supposed to have been in since the very beginning. Because there's like a key that you put in the resource file that tells their driver to prefer the NVIDIA card. Unless that broke. If that broke, that's really bad. Can you at least add a loading bar? I mean, we will for the final game. It's just we didn't want to destabilize the demo by doing stuff like that. Was the Wizard based on Karl Marx? Not that I'm aware of, and although you never know what. Oh, we're on 720p. We've been streaming it with that at 720p. That's ridiculous. Now we just select NVIDIA if we detect it. You mean like in code? Yeah, but like there's a thing that we already put in the executable that's supposed to do that. The driver's supposed to pick it. Although that might only be like for Optimus laptops or whatever. But that's mostly what we're talking about anyway, right? Yeah, there's the Druid's still temp voice, sadly. Druid and Bard are still temp voice. How do people hack games within 10 to 15 minutes? Well, I assume if you pirate Steam games all the time, if the games don't have their own DRM, they're just doing the same Steam thing every time, and so you can just run your thing that you already developed, right? So there's no new work involved, probably. It doesn't always work on hybrid laptops, the flag. Oh. Okay, well, then it's good that we added some code to do the detection. Do you think users can override that with manual settings? So maybe they did and forgot. I mean, maybe. But then maybe they want that. Maybe they want a game on their Intel GPU. Like, I don't know. Can you see what it's running on? I'm not sure what's the best way to do that. Like, does the Control Alt Delete has GPU usage now, right? Or am I hallucinating that? Like if you go to performance, yeah. Yeah, so if you Control Alt Delete, you go to performance tab, and it'll have a graph for each GPU. Although the game probably needs to be in windowed mode for you to see those at the same time. How much graphics is still placeholder? I mean, for everything in the demo, it's at least an approximation of what we will ship in the final game, but we're constantly iterating and spicing things up. Oh, well, then there are some elements that are very known placeholder, like the level stars on the overworld that are everywhere are super placeholder. You know, there's stuff like that. Is the yellow dude supposed to be mute? No. She has taken a vow of silence. So I'm sorry if she does not break her vow of silence to explain to you these things. But she's not mute. She can speak. She just doesn't want to. Yeah, in Promised, having a camera where you can actually see things, it makes the game less artificially hard, I think. You know. Sorry we didn't get menu VSync option. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to mess with that stuff. Like, yes, it would be better if we gave people VSync, but like, you're starting to be in the territory where stuff can break, you know. So it's just better not to do that. More people can also take a vow of silence. That is true. We have a full game in just the demo. Yeah, well, we have just released another full game. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off. I hope you enjoy the demo. Like we said on Monday, the team is all super stoked to see people playing the game. We're into it. We're happy you're having a good time. You know, there's actually been surprisingly few problems considering that we're a tiny team who built their own engine and all this, right? There have been a few problems. The biggest one is just we'd like to run on lower end hardware than we do, and we'd like to provide more graphics options and settings, and we'll be doing that. you know, after the demo. But thanks everybody, and let's find someone to raid. Hopefully some people are playing. Oh, some people are playing. Oh, Rubid Jellyfish is playing, but we raided him before. There's someone playing demo phase 1. A lot of the clips I see are from... Oh, no, there's a... Well, let's just raid someone to have fun. All right. All right. See you all later. Be good to the people playing the game.